Good automation doesn't need to cost a lot of money. In fact, it could even be free. If you're tired of tracking your Make and Zapier credits and constantly pushing up against the limits, then this video is for you. I'm going to show you how to save a ton of money on your finance automation stack by moving away from paid and expensive tools like Make and Zapier to a free self-hosted version of n8n. And don't be scared about self-hosting. It's so much easier than you think, and I'm going to show you how to do it step by step. Welcome to the channel. If you're new here, I'm Mike. I'm a senior finance leader, and over the last decade, I've worked in finance everywhere from brand new startups all the way to the Fortune 100. And over that time, I've helped companies automate more than 50,000 hours out of their processes. And today, I want to help you get some of those savings. In this video, I'm going to walk you step by step through how to set up self-hosting through n8n in two different ways. In the first, we're going to do it the completely free way with a couple of extra steps. This is going to involve docking it right on your computer. In the second way, I'm going to show you how for a low amount of money every month, you can self-host n8n. So instead of paying 20, 30, 40, or even 200 a month for their cloud version, you can put it right on your own mini cloud, get all of the benefits while keeping it contained in your space and not signing yourself up for monthly fees. And if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to my free weekly newsletter, Finance Automation Insider. I send a copy every single week with tips, tricks, and hacks just like this, and I don't want you to miss a thing. Plus, when you sign up, I'll send you a free copy to 15 5-minute finance automations that you can put in practice today. A lot of them will run great with n8n. With all that out of the way, let's get rolling. So here is the easy guide to getting started with self-hosting for n8n. Now, this is an intermediate video. I did a video a couple of days ago on a beginner's guide to n8n. If you haven't gone through that video, if you haven't used n8n, make sure to go back and check out that video. This video requires you to have just some working knowledge of how automations work in n8n, be comfortable with it, and be ready to decide to self-host it. This process is going to be super easy, but I'm going to jump over all the functionality of n8n and really focus on just the self-hosting. So if you haven't worked with n8n, or if you haven't watched my video on getting started with n8n, make sure to go check that out. I'll put the link to that right here. Check out this video, then come right back and learn about self-hosting. As a high-level refresher, n8n is a no-code automation tool that scales. It allows you to connect all your tools together through a visual workflow builder. The biggest benefit and the reason we're here today is it's open source and flexible. Your data, your rules. n8n's open source version, the community version, is completely free forever, and you can host it on your own server. Well, n8n does have a paid cloud hosting option just like Make and Zapier. This gives you so much more control and so much more ability to scale by managing the setup yourself. As I briefly mentioned, there's two different ways to set up n8n. There's the cloud setup, which is fastest. You just go to n8n, you set it up, it's ready to go, just like Make, Zapier, Power Automate. You pay them, it's all ready, but it is pricier, and you have less control over the infrastructure. What we're talking today is self-hosted. This gives you the most control. You can run it on your own server or Docker container, as we're going to go through. You can keep all of your finance data in-house, and it's much better for large or sensitive automation. So the two options we'll be going over today, one is free and harder, and one is a little bit of money and a lot easier. We'll look at both of them just depending on your budget, but I personally do the easier and small amount of money. We're talking literally a couple bucks a month. It's so much faster, but I also want to make sure you know the totally free version because it's great to be able to spend not a dime and get all this automation power. So for option one, hosting with Docker, we're going to install Docker on our computer. This allows us to plug n8n into essentially a virtual server right on our computer. You can also put it on if you have an actual server, you can use Docker as well. It's great for experimenting and running n8n locally. And then later you can always move it to option two or to a server or whatever you need to do there. Option two, and this is how I have it set up, is hosting on a virtual private server. So you can use a provider like Hostinger, DigitalOcean, or AWS. I personally use Hostinger. It's ideal for production finance workflows that need 24/7 uptime because the server is always running. It doesn't stop if you shut down your laptop. It's very secure. Your data is in a private cloud-based environment, and it lets you schedule jobs, store credentials safely, and scale across a large business while keeping control over the platform. So now let's get started with the totally free version, which is installing with Docker. Now, if you come to n8n's website and you go up to docs, you're going to find an entire section just on self-hosting n8n. Now, Everything you need to know to get up and running, I'm going to show you. And if there's anything you specifically need to enter, I'm going to have it down in the description for you. But this is just here as a backup, so I want to make sure you're aware of it and also just really confirm that n8n is set up for self-hosting to the point that they've got documentation right on the website. If you ever do need help on Docker, it's this first one right here, the Docker installation guide. But again, everything you need to know, I'm going to walk you through step by step right now. So the first thing to do is to install Docker if you don't already have it on your computer. To do that, you go to docker.com. It's totally free. We're going to come here and we're going to go to download Docker desktop. Now here you'll need to know what kind of computer you're working with. I think the average finance person, 85% of you are probably going to be on Windows AMD 64. That's the most common. If you're on a PC, you're almost definitely on AMD 64. ARM is most common in non-PC, non-laptop devices, but make sure to check. And then if you're on Apple, it's usually marked on the front of your laptop which one you have. So we're going to go ahead and download for Windows AMD 64. The download will start, we wait for that, and then we run it just like a normal program. Now while that downloads, I'll mention what Docker is. Docker allows you to set up compartments on your computer to run software. It keeps it separate from the rest of your computer so you don't break anything or crash anything, but also it lets the software keep running independently as you restart or reboot your computer, so it's not going to go away. It's like a mini computer in your computer that's going to let you do things like operating n8n. All right, so let's go ahead and run this like a normal installation. I'll skip ahead to the next part. You've all installed software before, just run the prompts and I'll catch you back with Docker desktop open. So we've installed Docker, we've opened Docker, and now it's setting up the engine so we can get working on our n8n setup. So you'll most likely open up on Docker Hub. You could really open anywhere. We're going to use a few of the buttons up here. So the first thing we want to do is we want to go to the volumes. So let's click on volumes, and in volumes, we want to create an n8n installation. So let's go ahead and hit create, and we'll call this data _n8n. And again, anything you need to type in, I'm going to have down in the description for you. So don't worry about copying it all down right now. It's going to be there in the description. It's here for you so you can follow along and make sure you understand what we're doing. So this is going to create the volume. This is that mini computer in your computer where it's going to store this separately on your hard drive. So now we've got our data _n8n. Our volume is set up and ready. So now with our volume built, we're going to go over to images, and here we're going to search images to run. Now the really great thing is we don't have to go anywhere else and download anything. n8n is available in Docker. So you'll search n8n, you'll see n8n.io, n8n, and we're going to pull this down into our container. So again, you don't need to go to n8n and download this. It's going to be able to pull right into Docker with its image. Now the pull is in progress. Once this is done, then we'll set up our container. While it downloads, let's get our time zone. I'll put this Wikipedia link to the official time zone names. Scroll down and find your time zone. In my instance, we'll be looking for America/New York, because I'm in the Eastern time zone for the United States. All right, here's America, New York, which is the standard one. And make sure you get this phrase exactly, America/New York _. Make sure whatever your time zone identifier is, you get it exactly how it's written. We're going to need that for n8n. So now we've got our image here. We're going to go ahead and run this and get our container set up. So we want to run a new container with n8n. And here's where we need to put in some of those optional settings that I mentioned. So we're going to go ahead and call this n8n. Our host port is going to be 5678. I've said it before, I'll say it again. I'm going to have all this down in the description, so don't worry too much about copying it down right now. Our host path is going to be the name we created when we were doing our volume. So that's going to be n8n_data. And then we're going to point it to the home node for n8n. And then we need to add a couple of variables that n8n requires us to define. So the first one, we'll use that time zone that we got. So we'll pop in generic time zone, and this value is going to be America, New York. That's for me. You'll put in whatever is relevant to you. We're going to do the exact same thing again, referencing the TZ code. So we'll put TZ in there, and then we're going to do the same thing for America, New York. All right, now we're going to do enforce settings file permission. Again, for you, you'll just have to copy and paste this. That's going to be true. We'll do one more. This one is going to be n8n runners, and all of this I'm getting from the n8n documentation, but again, I'll have it down below for you to copy and paste. That's going to be true. All right, now we'll go ahead and run this, again, running it on our little mini computer that we built in Docker. All right, you'll see here that everything is being created. So Docker is creating n8n, it's accessing the image, it's getting everything all set up for us to use. See, the process is still running. And now once you see this message that says editor is now accessible via, this means you can now access via your browser using this link. So I'll go ahead and click this link. So now you're able to access your own n8n instance through your browser. It's pointing to that special mini computer within your computer on your computer, but you're able to access to the browser just like you would with any other instance of n8n. You'll set up your account just like you would on the cloud version, and you're ready to go. So sure, this took a couple of steps, but I really want you to know this because it's really just a little bit of copying and pasting. You follow this video, you do all the steps in order. You're going to have n8n running totally free on your computer. You will not have to spend a dime on this setup ever. Now let's go ahead and move to the next setup, which is using a virtual private server. It's going to save you 60 to 70% over buying it from n8n, but it's going to be set up in a few clicks of the button. So if you really don't want to go through the setup of Docker, now I'll show you how to do it the same way that I do it with a virtual private server. It'll run all the time. It'll cost you just a few bucks a month. You'll save 60 to 70% over doing it through n8n, and it'll be ready in just a few minutes. Now here's how I run n8n, because as I mentioned, if you're using n8n on your computer, well, if you turn your computer off, it's not going to be able to run workflows. And I want to make sure that my workflows can run all the time, even when I'm not actively using them. So while it's great to be able to practice or be able to run some local things on your computer, I want to make sure that my processes can run all the time. So for that, I use a VPS or a virtual private server. Now for that purpose, I use Hostinger. Now, Hostinger by the time of this video may be an affiliate. If so, I'll have it noted down below. And if Hostinger is an affiliate by the time of this filming, I'll receive a small commission if you choose to purchase from Hostinger using any links that I may provide. But I'm not just recommending Hostinger because I may or may not be an affiliate. I'm recommending Hostinger because first of all, it's what I use for this. And second of all, it has the absolute best n8n setup. Here we are, we're on Hostinger website, hostinger.com, and you'll see right here on the right side of the menu, self-hosted n8n. It is truly a platform that Hostinger supports, and they have dedicated VPS setups that will help you get this rolling in just seconds. Honestly, I found it faster setting up n8n using Hostinger than even setting up n8n on n8n's cloud-based website. So from the self-hosted n8n website, we'll come down here and choose a plan. Almost everybody watching, you'll be good with KVM1 or KVM2. The difference, as you'll see down here, is the amount of disk space you get and the RAM. If you're running just kind of traditional finance processes, you're probably good with KVM1. If you want a little bit more power or you'll think you'll really use the bandwidth, you can use 2. Always remember you can start with the lowest and upgrade. I started with KVM1. I use this a lot. I'm still on KVM1. But choose what works best. I'll also point out that we looked at how n8n is $20 a month as a starting point for cloud, plus it has limits on the number of executions. Here you're starting at $4.99 a month with unlimited workflows and unlimited executions. You can even use it with queue mode, which lets you run multiple processes simultaneously. It is a fantastic setup to get you going with n8n, to save a lot of money, and to run it easily. So to get started, you would simply choose your plan. You'll go through the whole payment process, make sure to select your time period. Obviously, the longer time period you select, the more of a discount you'll get, but also the more you'll have to pay over time. Once you get that all set up, we'll get our VPS set up. Once you're through the payment process, it may take Hostinger 5 to 10 minutes to get you set up, but then you're going to come to your domain and it's going to look just like this. So you'll see here, I've got my virtual private server. It's running n8n on the cloud. We'll go into manage. And you'll see here all of the information with n8n running. Again, Hostinger will have this all installed and set up and ready for you to use. You can access it 2 ways. You can either go directly to this link right here, or you can go to manage app. Now, if you want to be really fancy, you can point your domain directly to this. So, well, this is my regular domain. I actually have this set up where I can go to n8n.f9finance.com and I'll come right into my n8n instance because I've moved it to point to my domain. You don't need to be that fancy. Just be aware it's something you can do outside the scope of this video, but there's a lot of great documentation right here on Hostinger for how to do it. And that's really all there is to it. It's up and running. It took a couple of seconds. You have your own n8n instance and you're ready to go. And again, processes here, if you set them up on a schedule, they'll run all the time, even if your computer's shut down. It doesn't get much easier than that. If you've enjoyed this video and want to learn more ways to save on finance automation, then check out my video on 15 free finance automation tools that you can use today. n8n is certainly one of them, but there's 14 other tools that you haven't seen in this video that are just as effective and will save you just as much money. I'm going to put the link to that video up here. Again, check out these 14 other free finance automation tools that will blow your mind. I'll catch you over there. Until then, this is Mike signing off from F9 Finance. Cheers.